It's time to unmuddy the waters, set the players into place. It's time to look at how Marvel's universe interacts, investigate the major players and powers both on Earth and in the universe, multiverse, and beyond. I'm not going to go into much depth on any single subject, but as this series moves forward, I think it's important to touch on who the major players are and how they stand in relation to one another. This side project is going to start at the bottom and work its way up to various tiers of existence within the Marvel Omniverse. Let's begin. On the bottom rung of the cosmic food chain are mortals. This encompasses a large portion of the Marvel Universe. Of these, the primary races on Earth are Atlanteans and Terrans. The Terrans are then split into several additional subcategories. The first of these subcategories was brought about by the genetic manipulation of the Celestials who traveled to planets across the universe performing genetic experiments. The Celestials arrived on Earth 5 million years ago and took a small group of proto-humans and performed their experiments. These experiments led to two divergent species of humanity, the Eternals and the Deviants. Normal humans are sometimes referred to as latents due to the Celestials' experiments leaving behind latent genetic material that would eventually show itself in the form of mutant abilities. The Eternals are known for their long lives, each having their own superpower and a very low birth rate. This stands in contrast to the Deviants who have high birth rates and a fast rate of mutation, leading to a physically diverse species who refer to themselves as the Changing People. Another group of mortals on Earth are the Inhumans, who were genetically manipulated by the Kree to exhibit superpowers after going through a process known as teragenesis. Once we leave Earth, most, but not all alien sentient species are shown to have the form of an anthropoid, meaning that they walk on 2 legs, have arms, and a head. Basically, most aliens in the Marvel Universe look like us. There are 3 major alien races that interact with Earth: the Kree, the Skrulls, and the Shi'ar. The Celestials are known to have done experiments on both the Skrull and the Kree. The Kree are split into 2 racial groups, the Blue Kree and the Pink Kree, with the Blues historically known to treat the Pinks as racial inferiors. Additionally, they created the being that now acts as their ruler, the Supreme Intelligence. The Skrulls represent a species wherein the Deviants became the dominant race after celestial intervention. In addition to these Skrulls, some Eternal Skrulls survived in secret, and an additional race of deviant Skrulls who studied black magic became known as the Dire Wraiths. To make things even more confusing, the Kree manipulated the genetic material of some of the Dire Wraiths, resulting in yet another Skrull offshoot called Inhuman Dire Wraiths. The Shi'ar are a humanoid avian species known to attempt to expand their empire whenever the opportunity has presented itself. This composite shot is from the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition, issue number 15, from March of 1987. As you can see, there are a lot of alien races out there, and the number of species has grown in the last 30 years. I don't have time to cover them all. Some of the major races, such as the Kree and the Skrull, will get their own videos at some point in the future. It should be noted that the Zorians claim to have created all humanoid species. I would say this is just big talk from the Zorians, but the Skrulls believe in a galactic legend that states that Skrullos, Earth, and most of the planets within their local galaxies were seeded with DNA from the Zorians. For the full story on the Zorians, feel free to watch my video on Zor, the God Jewel. The Zorians may or may not have seeded the Earth with their DNA that led to the rise of humanoid species, but life on Earth began with a being known as the Demiurge. This being is most likely the Scarlet Witch's son, William Maximoff, who was created along with his twin brother Thomas by Wanda's hex powers and given a soul via slivers of Mephisto's life essence. William and his brother were later reborn as William Kaplan and Thomas Shepard. William, who took the name Asgardian and later Wiccan, has the ability to warp reality at will. In The Young Adventures Volume 2, issue number 13, William temporarily takes on the mantle of Demiurge, where it's shown that he has the power to create both the future and the past, but due to his young age, he's still unsure of himself, stating that since he doesn't yet know how to use the power responsibly and isn't yet certain of what he's doing, he'll wait to go full Demiurge at some point in the future. On these pages, he takes a moment to inquire of himself what he's capable of, and the response is anything. Yeah, anything. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But what we do know is that Demiurge is the source of all life on Earth in the Marvel Universe, and his first creation is the Elder Gods. The Elder Gods begin killing each other off and degenerating into demons. Meanwhile, the Elder God Gaia protected life on Earth, and after meditating on how to protect it, has sex with her creator Demiurge to conceive a force of good. Their resulting offspring Adam was born with the power of the blazing sun, which he used to consume nearly all the Elder Gods. This transformed him into the deformed Demiurge. There might be a few more, but the main 4 Elder Gods who survived were Set, who continuously attempts to rule the Earth, most famously through the use of the Serpent Crown, Chthon, who still influences the world through his book, The Darkhold, Gaia, or Mother Earth, and Ashtur, mother of Agamotto, who left Earth before the fall of the Elder Gods and their transformation into demon gods. After all the Elder Gods but Gaia had fled or been slain, Demiurge dispersed his god stuff unto the world, reverted to Adam, and took refuge inside of Earth's sun. From this god stuff, the minds of man gave form to the various pantheons of Earth. These gods were created by the minds of men and contain only a fraction of the power of an Elder God. Note that each pantheon has their own creation myth, and each of these myths is true within the context of the Marvel Universe. For these gods and their followers, these myths have become and are reality. This is why events happening in, say, Asgard or the Dream World can affect the reality of the Marvel Universe. The stories of the individual pantheons will never trump the original creation story, but at the same time, it doesn't make the cause and effect of their individual realities any less real. I'm going to run through the list of Earth pantheons real quick. Please forgive any mispronunciations. The pantheons of Earth are, in alphabetical order, the Aboriginal gods of the Australian Pantheon, the Ahu of the Mayan Pantheon, the Akua of the Oceanic Pantheon, the Amatsu Kami of the Japanese Pantheon, the Anunnaki of the Mesopotamian Pantheon, the Apu of the Incan Pantheon, the Asgardians of the Norse Pantheon, the Devas of the Hindu Pantheon, the Divas of the Slavic Pantheon, the Dewatas of the Philippine Pantheon, the Heliopotens of the Egyptian Pantheon, the Inua of the Inuit Pantheon, the Jumala of the Finnish Pantheon, the Manadug of the Native American Pantheon, the Olympians of the Greek Pantheon, the Tengir of the Mongolian Pantheon, the Tetua of the Aztec Pantheon, the Tuatha De Danann and Fomorians of the Celtic Pantheon, the Vodou of the West African Pantheon, the Qian of the Taoist Pantheon, the Yazitas of the Persian Pantheon. If you would like more information about any of these pantheons, I would strongly recommend picking up a copy of Thor and Hercules Encyclopedia Mythologica, which was a huge help in putting this episode together. We also know of the existence of a few alien pantheons. We know of at least 3 Skrull gods. I'm not certain of the time period here, but in the early Skrulls history, Queen Slugurt led an army of deviant Skrulls. With this army, she wiped out all the normal Skrulls and all known Eternal Skrulls save one. This lone Eternal was named Clybene by the Celestials when they created him. When asked why he shouldn't be killed, his retort was, "Because I am you, and you cannot kill me without killing yourselves." He went on to share that although the Eternals had been wiped out from Skrullos, that there still existed Eternals on various other planets throughout the galaxies. He insisted that the Skrulls were needed to save these people, and that the universe is a book upon which the Skrull people shall write their destiny. Clybene claimed that his role was to be a constant, unchanging form to remind and guide the shape-changing Skrulls back to what they are. This is where the story gets a little weak. He follows this up by stating that he loves her, and everybody rejoiced, and Queen Slugurt pledges herself to him. So they just committed wholesale genocide and then all at once decide to stop when they get down to the last guy. Nope. Not buying it. I mean, it's canon, but it's also a very weak way to wrap up a story. This pledge of love between the two transforms them into gods, and they both ascend into heaven, where Calbean keeps his eternal form, and Slagurta stands in contrast by never keeping the same form for more than a few moments. The Skrull goddess of love, Zor-Kiri, was introduced in Thor, God of Thunder, issue number 3, but her relation to the other Skrull gods, and if she is a part of a greater pantheon, is unclear. The Shi'ar believe their deity Shara and her husband Kaithri created the universe. These two participated in a Challenge of the Gods in Mighty Thor Volume 2 between issues 15 and 17. We know very little of Kree deities. The only one I could track down was Tambor, a pagan god of Kreelar's frozen waste. It's noted in Captain Marvel Volume 1 that all Kree are sworn to fight followers of Tambor. I am certain that there are lots more deities out there in the Marvel Universe, but this covers the major races. All of the alien deities mentioned here seem to work at the same power level as those of the Earth Pantheons. This is evident by the fact that these deities and the gods of the Earth Pantheons have faced off against each other in combat and basically stood toe-to-toe. At this point, we've covered things at what I would consider a planetary level. We've looked at Earth and its pantheon of gods and compared that to other mortal pantheons. Next, we'll discuss cosmic entities that have roles or exist beyond a planetary scale. I'm going to wrap this one up right here. We've climbed up a couple steps, but we've got a long way to go before we reach the top rung of the Marvel hierarchy. Thanks for watching. Feel free to hit any of the buttons below. I'm out.